Women finding their voice, getting courage from each other to speak about what they have gone through over a period of almost 2.5 decades. And now the matter between MJ Akbar and these women journalists who have accused him of sexual harassment and assault is going to be settled in court. A 41-page defamation notice. That was step 2 in MJ Akbar's reply to sexual harassment allegations levelled against him by women journalists. The notice, though, was directed only at Priya Ramani, who first outed the editor-turned-politician on the 8th of October. Till now, 14 women have taken on MJ Akbar, the allegations ranging from sexual harassment to physical assault. But the charges have been limited to social media so far. Now the next step will be legal, with many wondering if the delay in reporting cases will impact their viability. Many also question MJ Akbar's continuing as minister while the case against him is underway.
देखिए, अगर आप क्रिमिनल लॉ की इन्वेस्टिगेशन के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखेंगे तो बहुत फ़र्क पड़ता है, क्योंकि डिले जो है, डिले ही एक ऐसा कारण है जिसके बेस पे ही पूरी कंप्लेंट भी डिसमिस हो सकती है. बट ये हैशटैग मीटू का जो एक सिस्टम स्टार्ट हुआ है, जिससे बहुत सारे लोग जो कि पहले उनमें इतनी क्षमता नहीं थी, इतना करेज नहीं था, वो आज आके कंप्लेंट्स फाइल कर रहे हैं. तो मुझे लगता है कि मे बी उसके एवज में अगर हम देखा जाए तो शायद डिले जो है, अगर वो प्रॉपर्ली एक्सप्लेन की जाए तो वो कंडोन हो सकती है.
आई थिंक एंटायर बीजेपी यूजिंग डिफेमेशन टूल एज ए प्रोटेक्शन cover, but the way allegations are made by the women is very much serious. He can fight his own battle legally, but he have no right to stay in the office of minister. He must resign.
Akbar's legal move comes hours after his statement rubbished 5 of the 14 accounts against him. In what seems like a shock and awe campaign, he has a team of 97 lawyers to defend him. While the women journalists decide their next course of action, they have already refuted his initial defense statement. In an online post, Ghazala Wahab has accused Akbar of misrepresenting and misquoting facts. Additionally, she has produced statements from her former colleagues at the newspaper she and MJ worked for to corroborate her version of events. As the MOS External Affairs faces political protests, the government has decided to stay mum and non-committal on MJ Akbar, waiting perhaps to let the legal route decide the fate of this case. With Anisha Mathur in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today. Okay, joining me now in People's Court are 2 of the journalists who have accused MJ Akbar of sexual harassment. We have Suparna Sharma with us, also Kanika Gehlot joining us live. I have with me Flavia Agnes, who's someone who's advocated for the rights of women and against sexual harassment. But I want to start with Suparna. Is it disheartening that MJ stuck it out? Is it because he's sure? Does it indicate to you, Suparna, that he's sure he has a very sound legal case, in fact a case sounder than yours?
It is disheartening. You know, the whole Me Too movement is basically emerged out of women's frustration, their anger at the system, the legal system failing us, and it was against men in powerful positions. And now, as you see the situation as it exists now, which is a gentleman against whom not 1, not 2, not 3, several women have come forward with their accounts. He is choosing to stay in power. The government has decided not to take moral responsibility for the actions of one of their ministers and, you know, do something about it. And while staying in power, he is filing a defamation case. I mean, you know, the power equation could not have been worse.
Flavia Agnes, today when Priya Ramani was issued that defamation notice, she said it's an attempt to try and stifle her voice, but many would argue that he is entitled to a legal defense.
Nobody is stopping him from getting legal defense. What everybody is objecting to is he's misusing his office, he's misusing his status, he's misusing his designation, he's misusing his public image, and he's misusing his position in the government, and where you can tamper with a whole lot of things. So, and intimidate every woman who has filed cases against him. So now here is the question. He has a defense, he has a right of defense, he can go to court, he can ask for an inquiry to be instituted to look into all the allegations that have been made against him. But while doing so, should he be part of the government? Should he represent India in international forums? Is this the image that the BJP government wants to show to the whole world, that one of your Minister of State is being accused of misconduct, sexual harassment at the workplace, using his position, and this
you think that now that he has gone to court, he could actually influence the case given the position he holds? Flavia Agnes?
It is just the intimidation that can happen to the victims in particular, but also in the court. Like when the court, when you go Patiala court, Patiala House court, he's filed a case. Now when he goes there before the judge, and the judge gets overwhelmed because a minister is coming before him asking for certain reliefs. Now this position should not be there at all. He's going there as for his personal remedy. He's not going there as a minister. So that has to be very clear, that when he's not resigning, but he's not stepping aside, this is the position that he has. And we have to be extremely, extremely cautious that the government is not allowed to do this.
We will keep, in fact, very close eye on that. Kanika, are you also expecting a defamation notice? This seems to be a planned move.
Well, you know, Padmaja, I guess we see it if it comes. What can I say?
Why do you think Priya now, I mean, considering that 14 women and today 15 have all come out against Mr. Akbar, and he is of the opinion, according to his statement yesterday, that it is all a part of a political conspiracy, why only Priya?
Why only Priya? You know, Padmaja, I've not given it much thought, you know, because we've all been wondering what Mr. Akbar is going to say. We were hoping, thinking he'll do the right thing and, you know, admit it, talk to us and say, you know, he did it. Say it to the nation the way we said it to the nation when they asked us. And like other people in this movement have done, a number of people, as Padma, I'm sure you know, have. A lot of people have also taken the legal route, but a lot of people have just absolutely come out and said, yes, I'm sorry, this happened, it shouldn't have happened. There are a number of people who did that, and it's in the spirit of that that I think we all went up with our truths, in the spirit of this movement. And in the spirit of this movement, many men and many of the accused have accepted, denied, or intimidated.
You know, I want to actually ask you something. You know, looking at his statement yesterday, it seems his argument by and large is that I didn't do anything, with emphasis on do. Because for Priya Ramani, for example, he says, in a tweet she replied, never named him because he didn't do anything. He again goes on to say, and I'll quote again, Shutapa Paul states the man never laid a hand on me. Shuma Raha says, I must clarify, however, that he didn't actually do anything. One woman, Anju Bharti, went to the extent of claiming I was partying at a swimming pool. I don't know how to swim. The reason I want to quote all of this is because you think this is pretty much going to be his legal position as well, that nothing was done. It was all said, and of that there is no proof.
You know, Padmaja, very, very interesting question. I do not think this can be actually a legal defense, because legally you do not have to do to sexually assault or to sexually harass. You do not have to do anything to sexually. This is absolutely accepted legally. It can be non-verbal, it can be verbal, or it can be physical. We know this, right? This is not a matter of dispute. This is accepted. So I do not think it's a legal argument. It is an argument to actually shame the women, because this is a perception. You see, you know, there's this thing that people don't understand. See, we are living in a country where there are too many realities, and all the realities are true. Right now, women at the workplace, and this is of course also the faults that we are trying to correct are not allowed to come in. We know the realities of women, although there are very few women at the workplace. It's a very small minority that is actually fighting this battle. And you know, so, and we want more to come in, and they're not being able to come in because of these barriers. So we are trying to open this up. That is the whole battle, right? That we are fighting. So now this is actually using, let me finish. This is using that lack of understanding, lack of empathy with these women, lack of solidarity with these women, lack of support for this battle, actually using that misogyny that is there, that distrust of women at the workplace. Oh, we won't hire them, you know, they create problems. So we didn't even do anything. The lack of understanding of the laws or why they're in place. It is trying to exploit that. Instead of the government and you know, Mr. Akbar sort of helping in change that, what they're doing is they're exploiting that to further push women back, silence them, suppress
Flavia Agnes,
them,
you agree with that? That this won't really stand as much of an excuse or an argument in court?
Before that, I just want to clarify. In 1997, Justice Verma gave us the Bishaka guidelines. If you see the definition there, nobody has to do anything. We're not talking about rape. We're not talking about IPC section 354 actual molestation, that somebody touches your body, somebody touches your breast. Sexual harassment at workplace is none of that. Sexual harassment at workplace is how the victim perceives it to be a harassment. If somebody is staring at her, somebody is like humming Hindi love songs, if somebody is doing any of these, this amounts to sexual harassment according to the victim. Now she has to say that this happened and this is, I perceived it as sexual harassment. Maybe MJ Akbar doesn't know. Maybe 97 lawyers who are with him, the entire pack of them do not understand what this act is all about. After Vishaka guidelines in 2013, we got the act. An act is carried forward the same definition, and it is the perception of each of the victims, how they perceived what he did to them. He doesn't have to do anything. He even touching the body, nudging them, staring at them, making them sit at a particular place, all of that constitutes sexual harassment at workplace, and he's the boss. He has the power. And this is what he's doing for these young journalists who are coming and working.
In fact, you know, in his entire statement, the only actual testimony that we see.
I am coming to give them advice.
Thank you. I will pass on that word as well. And Kanika, do you think you want to perhaps take up Ms. Flavia Agnes on that offer? Since I know all of you are still contemplating your legal defense.
As of today, as I checked, I was not yet sued. You know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm one of the people who has stood up and, you know, said to a newspaper when they asked, I've given my experiences saying it did amount to misconduct. I stand by that. If tomorrow a case comes from Mr. Akbar, you know, I absolutely will take you up on your offer. Thank you so much.
Okay, done. Thank you so much, Ms. Agnes. But also, like I was mentioning, I think the only account that Mr. Akbar didn't really seem to have much of an answer for was that of Ghazala. And that's what I want to ask you, Suparna. In the case of Ghazala, his only defense was that he was in a tiny cubicle that was patched together, and I quote, by plywood and glass. Now, you have worked in the same office. Can you confirm to us that this was a plywood and glass little room that he was in?
Padmaja, you must remember this is the 1993-94 where MJ Akbar was a towering figure in Indian journalism. He was launching a newspaper for the first time in our country, in India, a multiple edition newspaper in India and the UK simultaneously. It had never happened before. So he was the editor-in-chief of this huge newspaper which was going to change the game. So the office that he had was in accordance with his stature, with his designation, with his stature as editor-in-chief of this newspaper. It was not patched together. If that, you know, not at all. It was a proper cubicle. People would go in. There was enough space for more than 1 or 2 people to go in and have a meeting. It had a proper door that locked, and it had at least in one office, I remember, because there were 2 buildings and he had offices in both. At least in one building there was a glass, you know, like that stained glass where you whatever that you can't see what, you know, what's inside. So no, they were proper offices that a man of his stature deserved. And I remember he had this huge table in the Vandana building, you know, where he would sit behind it. And I still remember there was this fax machine on the side, and you know, there were two chairs or maybe 3, I don't recall. I'll have to check, you know, my memory, jog my memory again. But it was definitely not what he's trying to say, that it was like a tiny little cubicle. No, it was a proper office.
Kanika, you agree with that? You've seen that office too.
Yeah, I said you could play. You could have played musical chairs around that table. I mean, it's a huge table, huge table.
Yeah. And Ghazala also said today it was apparently a soundproof room. So everything she's described was very much possible, contrary to what Mr. Akbar says. You think,
yes,
Kanika?
With or without soundproof room, all that what she's absolutely what she has said. You know, in fact, yesterday only when we saw the thing saying small cubicle, my brain was like, which small cubicle, where? You know, and it is written made in glass, meaning to say that it's transparent. I don't remember any such office. You know, it was absolutely closed door. So I you know, I'm glad Ghazala has absolutely agree with Ghazala with Suparna that there is no small cubicle.
Interesting, very interesting inconsistencies that are already emerging. Now I'm going to be brutally honest and ask you this, Kanika, because every word that you have said so far, along with the other ladies, is going to be seen with a fine tooth comb by these 97 lawyers apparently who are going to be against the 15 of you. For example, what you said to Indian Express, where you have said, I don't know if everyone got hit on, but I certainly did and my friend did, but neither of them faced any repercussions. Also, when you have said, he called me to the hotel, I said I overslept and couldn't go, he was okay with it. He never subjugated me or took it out on me. This may just be seen as a slight endorsement of Mr. Akbar, that he wasn't really the bully or, you know, someone who tormented you for resisting him. You think that could be a chink in the armor?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's a. I don't think that it is an endorsement. I have said what has happened in my experience. I have not, you know, we didn't speak to each other and then sort of make the exact story. The thing is that what is emerging is that the same pattern was happening with everyone. Then depending on people's responses, as in, you know, you know, I mean, you know, there are a lot of, you know, not only people's responses, but their circumstances, who they are, their personalities, you know, their friends, it could be many things that why some people got away and why some didn't is not, I think, a question for, the thing is the patterns are the same. We are all agreeing to the that we shouldn't have been asked, it was inappropriate behavior. We are all agreeing to that. But some of us, it went further and some of us, it didn't. Now that is something that we as victims can only also see once the testimonies are coming out, because we have not discussed the testimonies. We are also seeing them, like you people, coming out for the first time in front of us about people around us.
Fair enough. And everyone has different experiences.
How far it's gone, how far it's not gone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now it is why they choose to go ahead with some people and why they don't prejudice is something that victims can't answer, I think, but experts, and there are many experts in this field who have studied this, they will be able to answer it better, Padmaja.
Suparna, what's your state of mind right now? Are you scared? Are you worried? Are you amused because you're laughing a lot today? And of the others, since you've been in touch with them?
See, we are. I am in touch with others. We are disappointed mostly by the government's reaction, by the government deciding not to take any moral responsibility despite the fact that in this Me Too movement which started in India, even corporate houses, individual production houses, actors, etc., have taken a moral stand. They, and they have decided to either sack people, etc. I mean, media houses have done that, but here the government of India has decided not to. So my biggest kind of emotion right now is disappointment at this government, and we hope that they look at these statements again, that that so many women have come forward and do course correction.
Flavia Agnes, finally I want to ask you, 15 women versus 97 lawyers. Is this a sort of shock and awe campaign? Some even wonder whether this was actually intimidation.
This 97 lawyers makes absolutely no sense. It is a way of intimidating the victims. There are 97 lawyers, but only one lawyer will stand up and argue before the judge. 97 lawyers cannot argue. They may not even be allowed to be in the court. It is not a tamasha that's going on with 97 lawyers standing up there. One senior will argue, he may have 2 or 3 junior lawyers. So what is this 97 lawyers and all this shit that's going on?
Well, the might of an office and the might of sheer numbers, not to mention a defamation notice which might just land up in your post box. I will have to leave it at that. But I'm very glad at least that Flavia Agnes, you could connect with Suparna and Kanika Gehlot on the show. Hope to hear more from you over the next few days. Thank you very much, all ladies, for joining us. And thanks very much to the viewers for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Newsmore.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.